March participants, welcome to Berlin, a city of women. Many women's movements germinated in Berlin, and we, a cross-party initiative here in Berlin, are delighted to be standing here at this historical spot, celebrating this day with you. We have women from all the political parties. We were founded over 45 years ago by members of parliament in Berlin. We work closely with a lot of women's projects in the city, and we focus on themes that urgently require more political attention. One example, for many years, not only in Berlin, there has been a growing number of homeless women, some of them with children. We set up an advisory group with experts from the homeless NGOs and drew up a paper with them, making various demands, which we handed over to the women in the Berlin Parliament, and the result is they are now taking a close look at the whole issue, and some of our position paper have now even been enshrined in the Federal Coalition Agreement. So that's one example. An example of how important it is that civil society organisations work closely with women who are in the parliaments at federal, state or whatever level. In every political party, there are women, people that you can approach for the issues on your minds, and we need to make more use of that. We are strictly cross-party. We don't have a huge number of members, but we do have over 2,000 email addresses on our distribution list, and these are women in all kinds of different important functions. Unfortunately, companies have found out about this, but we're definite that we're not going to let them share our database. Why is Europe so important for the gender issue? In the past, Europe was often a pioneer in achieving more equal opportunity. Now, and Sharon has just talked about this, we are now experiencing times at EU level and in many neighbouring countries where a very noisy minority would much prefer to turn the clock back and dismantle the many rights that women have fought for in the past on their way to a fairer society. At the coming elections in the European Union and at many other political levels, one decisive factor will be that we women make it clear that we are a very big stakeholder group and we can decide elections. And if all of us agree on shared strategies and shared objectives, in all the political parties, in all the parliamentary parties, there are people we can talk to about this, especially if we can demonstrate how many women are behind these objectives. There are two major problems. The first big problem has concerned us all today, and it's going to become even more urgent. That's the gender pay gap. We've referred to that already. An appropriate remuneration of the work that we do in our society, whether it's paid work or unpaid work, and appropriate social insurance contributions on that work. Women do most of the unpaid work in our society, in families, caring for people, raising children. In the voluntary sector too, they are a major factor. Without the very many volunteering women, our public services are so meticulous. German public services would have collapsed when 1 million asylum seekers were accepted a year ago. We very rarely see the media honour that contribution. Women often have excellent training and poor pay in responsible functions where the workload is considerable. Nurses, social workers, and as a reward for that, after a long working life, often with poor pay, if not unpaid work, women are often rewarded with pensions that are barely above basic income. So we demand that all over Europe and at national level, we work together to ensure that the work that women do is paid better, for example in caring professions and in caring in general, and this is a new issue on the agenda, that the unpaid work they do in families and in volunteering are credited in their pensions. It's clear that this is going to be a long haul, and we're going to need a lot of political effort to achieve this right across the political and parliamentary parties and at every level. But we must no longer accept women being thanked for their important social contribution, having to queue at the food banks when they reach old age. At EU and national level, we can discuss standards, define standards, and we must commit to that. The big issue number 2, and we're all familiar with this, digitalization will open new opportunities for work, but also they will cause considerable new imbalances. A lot of routine activities are going to be automated. That won't just be the simple jobs. It will also be highly skilled jobs and middle-level jobs. That will affect both men and women, but it will affect a greater percentage of women. And that's why we demand that if women lose their current jobs, they are given an opportunity in the digitalization market for the coming years. That means across Europe, we need major retraining programs funded by industry and the public purse. And for both these demands, we need a strong, united women's movement across Europe that confronts politicians, trade unions, employers with those demands, calls for, works for solutions at national and European level. It's a mammoth task, but to quote Clara Mavaglia, if we work together, if we have the stamina, we will fix it.